Good evening peeps, my name is Scribbs and welcome back finally to another speed paint. Not just the first speed paint of the decade, but also the first speed paint that I've done in a month. I'm very sorry to those guys who's been requesting him. I know that there's actually been quite a few of you like asking for different kinds of fan art and stuff and asking when I'll do another drawing video again. I'm sorry, it's just been, it's been the usual. I've just been busy. It's rough getting into like a daily schedule, and especially with a lot of stuff going on, it's hard to find the time where I can actually sit down and, well, first of all find the idea for something to draw and then actually sit down and draw the thing. But that isn't even my main excuse, because the drawing, or the thing that we're drawing today, which is Medusa, the character from OL 666 or OL 666's Blackheart 2 collection, is a character that I, in kind terms, have had a very rough time drawing. I actually have another drawing, and you can actually see it. If you go into like the video where I go all the way back through my drawings of 2019, you can see that the very last drawing for that year is actually an attempt at a Medusa character. It's very tiny thumbnail, but you might be able to see a bit of it, but I didn't finish that because I was unhappy with the anatomy. I didn't practice anatomy enough, but I got into it a bit more, and now I'm at a point where I'm back at a point where I think I'm at least somewhat happy with the anatomy. It's something that I can at least show you guys with some dignity. And of course it's far from perfect, but how about we just stop, like put a cap on all the bitching, put that away somewhere, stow it away in like a closet, and then we actually dive into the drawing. Sound good? Okay, good. So one thing that I wanted to do with this design was obviously incorporate as much as I could from the simple design that we had to work with in Project Arrhythmia, which it's actually not even that bad. It's actually got quite a lot of detail, and it's a pretty freaking good character design in my opinion when it comes to the limits you can work with in Project Arrhythmia. But it's a very readable character design and I like it. So there was some sort of stuff to go off of, such as the color scheme, the sort of like crystal on their head. I also learned that their gender is actually male, and then of course the name, Medusa. Now it's hard to dodge the name Medusa when it comes into character design, but I was also a bit thrown off because I don't know exactly how much of Medusa, like as a mythical character that exists in Greek mythology, was actually thought of when creating the character design. It actually almost seems like it's only the name, because none of their abilities really align. There's nothing that really like makes them seem similar. Actually, the character Medusa in Project Arrhythmia uses thunder powers and hammers, which is actually more adjacent to the Nordic god Thor, or as you Gen Zers know him, Chris Hemsworth. But yeah, there's no real connection between the two Medusas except maybe the color scheme, which is still that sort of sickly green we often associate with snakes, and maybe the more sharp shapes in the character design. Also, I'm sorry, people kept correcting me and saying that it was actually a male. I found out, okay, I realized that. It was just sort of like, you know, Medusa, and you kind of associate that with femininity because actual Medusa is like a female, so it's not because of any like gender thing. You know, I'm not gonna get into that. But because the name was the thing that sort of stood out the most about the character design, and I didn't want to go off of the powers too much and just create sort of like another Thorish character, I actually thought it would be sort of nice to go into this Medusa-like direction instead. Then I thought it would be interesting to actually put this character in a traditional Greek male armor, also because the whole Medusa aspect is often associated with femininity, as I just said, so actually emphasizing the fact that it is a male character by giving them this bronze male, like ripped torso sculpted top half of their armor. That Greek hoplites actually used to have those, although I doubt they were sculpted that way. I think they were sculpted more practically, actually being more roundish, so they didn't catch any spears on them and stuff. Then it's usually fantasized this way, that they looked like literal Greek gods when they were on the battlefield. And some movies like 300 and stuff actually kept the myth going that they were just naked out on the field, but no, they had armor on, but it was still just kind of shaped like their abs. Actually, thinking about it, then it would be kind of interesting to also see like a woman in that. Like if you had like a very like strong woman typed character or protagonist set back in Greece in that day, because that was just like kind of the armor they had. So having a woman in this very male shaped armor, I guess that would actually be sort of interesting. Anyway, moving on, I'm going off on a tangent. Most of the rest of the armor is also inspired by, or at least some part heavily inspired by, Greek hoplites, although it did change up the design in some ways, and I did also like the idea of having this character stay very sharp. So I removed the shoulder pads that Greek people usually had, because I don't think they even had any, to be honest, and I gave them these shoulder pads, or these very sharp shoulder pads. And I definitely really wanted some shape in there, because Medusa in the game has these hexagonal fists, actually, sort of to indicate that it is a sharp design, and you can even see it in the hair. I don't know if I already said that, but you can sort of see it in the hair that it's sort of spiky, so I wanted to keep it as sharp as possible, and I even wanted to sort of go in the direction and give them, I call it the Hercules elbow, where it's just a very sharp elbow, and then it has this sort of little twirl in it for no reason. I don't know where Disney got the idea from that. Maybe they got the idea from some pottery or something, but I almost wanted to steal it for this one. I of course also gave Medusa their sort of infamous hammer. I would have loved to give them two, and I actually, that is not something I have an excuse against. I regret doing it. I just only thought about the idea of giving them two, or giving him two sort of later on. But yeah, if I had a chance to go back and change anything, then it would probably change his his weapons into actually dual wielding hammers, and also make them more glowy, and maybe even add some effects such as like lightning effects to indicate his powers, which is once again, weirdly enough, thunder, electricity, and storm, I believe. And with that, then we actually almost got all the bases covered. If there was anything that I would actually need to talk about, then it would probably be the face. I was kind of in a conundrum because I didn't want to make the character look too feminine, but the feminine look is very tightly associated with like a seducing or seductress, which is almost what Medusa was a staple for, even back in like the mythology. So I sort of stayed away from the idea of giving him a chiseled jaw, even though he is Greek. And I decided instead to go for something that I've actually, I don't remember where I've seen these exact eyes. It might be from Gravity Falls, but I decided to give them these sort of wide open cat eyes that sort of has these eyelashes sort of like stabbing out from every which direction. I think I got it from the YouTube channel Strange Neighbors. I think that's where I got that idea, but I'm not quite sure. I definitely feel like I've been heavily inspired from it somewhere, but after putting them on the character, then I feel like it worked out very well. And I feel like if you actually put a silhouette over the entire design, except just like the eyes, and the eyes of the snake that were on the hair, that would actually make for a pretty damn cool silhouette of a character. But after going through the face, then I think we've actually rounded out the design. I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm actually pretty happy with the way it turned out. I think I'm getting better at my anatomy once more. I sort of fell way back after not drawing almost a month. But I feel like I'm getting back into it. I'm getting back into the rhythm, and I'm really practicing like actually sticking to habits this year. That being said, I am working my ass off right now just to keep things on schedule. I've had to sort of be sloppy with the way that I upload videos, or like the rate I upload videos. I'm actually sitting. The reason I might also be tired, and the reason this video might be a little short, is because it's 1:30 a.m. and it's on a Tuesday, and I need to get up for work tomorrow. I actually need to get up at 7 a.m. and then I need to go like do work, and then I have to go get up like work at my driver's license, practice that training, stuff like that. Just a busy life in January. I don't know why I expected January to be kind to any of us, but of course January never changes. January is just going to be continue being a busy bitch for all of us, and not even I am safe, of course. So yeah, if you're wondering where the videos are at, or if you're wondering why the sudden I'm a little bit more inactive, that's just because a lot of stuff is starting up. And I keep telling myself that, even though I at times might feel like I am on the verge of a freaking mental breakdown. It does feel like that sometimes. But hopefully this is a shorter temporary state, and I'll get some actual structure into my everyday pretty damn soon. I hope so, at least. But anyways, let me know down in the comments what you think of the design. Do you like it? Which parts would you like to change? Which parts did you think were really cool? I would love to hear you guys' feedback, both good or bad. Don't worry, I have quite the tough skin, so I can take criticism if you got any. You might even say I have the tough skin and scales of a snake. But to be honest, any feedback or any sort of comments or activity down in the comments is something I look forward to every day. So thank you so much for watching to the end of this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.